Hey guys, so we are back with the results for Smackdown, or I should say just the a review of what we saw. This was the go home show for Smackdown before the Royal Rumble, which happens tonight. Super excited! It is one of my favorite pay per views. So we start out the night with Charlotte Flair out in the ring, and she, of course, is interrupted by several other women that are taking part in the Royal Rumble match. This gets you really kind of hyped up for this. Um, so once most of them had come out, or at least that were, we got a surprise return. That being Sasha Banks. This was pretty huge. I okay, so her ring guitar wasn't terrible. I don't know. It was okay, but her entrance was really kind of electric. It really got you excited to see her return, to see her enter the Royal Rumble. And she made that pretty clear right away that that was what she was back to do. So she kind of stepped back after she slapped Charlotte and let the other ladies kind of do their thing. The brawl that ensued, and when Charlotte got flipped over the top rope, really gets me excited for this show tonight. I am very excited. I'm still not 100% certain who I think is winning this. I'm going to think on that while I do this a little bit before I do my prediction. But so the opening of the show was very good with these women. I enjoyed it. It got a lot of your competitors out there. With Sasha coming back, it does limit more so the number of surprise entries we're going to get, but that's not the worst thing in the world. I'm okay with that. We still don't know the number of them and when each one is going to enter. So that's still going to be an exciting thing to see as that clock ticks down. So we then have Sheamus and Ridge Holland, and they're going to take on Ricochet and Cesaro. Now, if you remember, it was another match, and I believe it was the kickoff show for day one, where Ridge Holland had his nose broken. So I don't know how I feel about the fact that Sheamus gave Ridge the protective nose piece, if you will, the guard that he's kind of wearing now around his face. Not really a super big fan of it. Wasn't a fan of it really when Sheamus was using it, but it is a pretty decent heel move, so it'll fit his heel character all right. At the end of the day, Ridge Holland and Sheamus picked up the win. Cesaro and Ricochet still looked really strong. It got 4 of your competitors for the Royal Rumble. I do believe Ridge is in it. It got all of them on the TV. It reminded you of their name, that they're there. It helps to get you excited about this Rumble match. So we then had Naomi and Sonya Deville. This was an interesting match in that Sonya did end up losing. She tried several different ways to try to get the official to kind of slide by the rules to let her have the victory. And it was very clear right away he was not going to allow it. After the match, after Naomi had won, Sonya made it clear that she was entering herself into the Women's Royal Rumble match. I personally think that this is going to be a good addition to it. With this, though, folks, however, remember that because of Sasha's return earlier in the night, we now have even less surprise entries because now one of those entries that we did have went to Sasha and one is now went to Sonya. So we're not going to have too many surprise entries for the women, but again, we don't know exactly when they're going to be entering, so that's still going to be left for a surprise for us. Both women looked very good. Sonya looked great getting back in the ring in an actual match. It did a lot, I think, for Naomi to actually pick up a victory and kind of get that leg up over Sonya. So we then go to, what do we have next? We have Sami Zayn. Now, first of all, before Sami comes out, they did cut to the back, which reminds us that we do have a tag team match. I don't know that it has been determined exactly when it's happening, but we are going to see the Usos taking on the Viking Raiders. So they had a segment there reminding us of the Viking Raiders getting that number one contendership. I like what they're doing with the Viking Raiders and that they're making them look pretty dominant. Do I think that they're going to necessarily win this championship? Maybe not necessarily yet, but they definitely are going to give them a run for their money. So let's go to Sami Zayn in the ring. He has decided that his In Zayn segment is no longer going to be about stunts, but about a podcast, a live one. He had Jinder Mahal and Shanky out there. Now, he kept bringing up Johnny Knoxville. When that was, you could tell it was kind of annoying, Jinder and Shanky, but they didn't necessarily let it get to them. That went on for a little bit, but they were interrupted by Jinder and Shanky's opponents, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. I wasn't sure how I felt about Boogs at first, but he's kind of growing on me a little bit. The Shinsuke is not necessarily defended his title overly much. What we have to remember, though, is also that Sami Zayn has a number one contendership technically still for the Intercontinental Championship. It has not been decided when that is yet. I don't know. I don't remember if Boogs and Nakamura entering the Rumble match. I believe they are. So again, this gets them on the card. Again, kind of promoting that Rumble match. So we had that, in which Nakamura and Boogs pick up a victory there. Once again, what you'll remember, what you'll notice here. So for the most part, WWE has had a pretty strict rule as far as how often you need to defend a title if you're going to be a champion. And I feel like here they're doing a disservice to us, the WWE Universe, in that with Nakamura being injured, he's technically able to perform, but not necessarily at the top of his game, if you will. This being said, I think that's part of the reason he has not defended his title. It is why most of the matches that he has been in recently have been multi-man matches where the others can kind of take the brunt of it. And you saw that in this match where Rick Boogs was in there for most of it, and most of those bumps Rick took, he ended up picking up the victory for the team. You saw Nakamura in there, but not for very long, and he didn't necessarily do a whole lot in there. I almost feel like WWE would be better off if they actually did put the title on someone, at least temporarily, if you want to, on someone that can defend it. At the very least, I will give them that they are getting it on TV. They are making sure that people remember who the champion is. They're giving him a time to at least talk, if you will. We'll see how that goes. So we then have Kofi Kingston and Big E. They're going to take on Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. This went fairly decently. It was a decent match. We end up with the New Day picking up a win. Again, all four of these men are going to be in the Rumble match. That was essentially what this show was about, was showcasing these people that are going to be in that match. Now, you only have so many women necessarily on that roster, on the SmackDown roster that are going into it. So you kind of did that in one match, kind of showcasing some of them, but not necessarily all of them. And you actually did have two matches, or two segments, I should say, because the first one wasn't necessarily a match, but you still showcased Sonya and Naomi. So that was good there. You're still showcasing all of those people. We then go to the main event where we saw Roman Reigns going face to face with Seth Rollins. I'm going to start with the fact that Seth Rollins' laugh is kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. And it's difficult to tell kind of where he is at, because he plays more of a heel on Raw, but he's taken on somewhat of a babyface role on SmackDown. At least that's kind of the way it appears. In this segment, I like the fact that they showcased how that chair shot that broke up the Shield still kind of hurts Roman Reigns. It definitely gave Roman personality, and it showed kind of the depth of where these two have been and what they've been through together and opposite each other. I like the fact that they allowed Seth to kind of duck Roman's advances there when he tried to get the upper hand on Seth. Again, I don't know. Maybe it's just the healer side of Seth that is going through with this laugh. I don't know. I don't really care for it necessarily, but it adds character to him. So I will deal with it. It's not necessarily a get out of here thing, right? So that is SmackDown, and I will be back with my predictions for the Royal Rumble.